Hello, this is Snowstorm. Welcome back to my channel. So, I am still on cloud 9 right now. Okay, so I met Tifa and Aerith today. I did. I met Tifa and Aerith. I met their VAs, Britt, and Brianna White. So I am definitely on cloud 9 right now. Okay, so story time. A few months before Rebirth came out, I was getting really hyped for the game to be released. I had waited 4 years for part 2, right? And I was watching the large convention with the voice actors in the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth panel. I forget which convention it was, if it was like San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con, I'm not sure. Yeah. And I remember watching it and watching other videos about the voice actors. And I just thought to myself, like, I want to meet them. I want to meet them so badly. And so, yeah, and then I got, caught up in life, and then, like, I was playing Remake on my main channel before I made this channel, and then, finally got to playing Rebirth, right? Which I beat a few weeks ago, and at the time of recording this, I have already beaten my second playthrough, though my second playthrough is just story only to grab footage so I can make those videos about Tifa, but also about Aerith. I have some planned for Aerith as well. And a few weeks ago, I had to stop talking completely, go on complete vocal rest because my voice had been cracking. It's still cracking, it's still weak, but not as bad, but it had been weak and cracking for over a month. So I was depressed, I couldn't make content, and I was dealing with a hard time with work, and I was just going through my phone, and I was like, I wanna see where, like, what conventions Britt is gonna be at, right? And so I looked and found out that 3 weeks from then, so 3 weeks ago, that there was gonna be a convention literally 10 minutes away from me. And both her and Brianna White were gonna be there, both Tifa and Aerith. And I was like, you know what? I have to go. Like, money is tight right now, but I have to go. I have to meet them. So I went through like weeks of lots of working and struggling with money, and things got really tight up until the end. Like, I decided to go with this cosplay, and I put some accessories in my hair, Tifa's beachwear, because I can't afford the regular cosplay. And I was like, okay, I want to get a photo with Britt, and I want to talk to Brianna, right? And I even had rehearsed what I was gonna say, but like leading up to the convention, I was just like, this isn't real. Like, how is this real? Like, I bet there's been a mistake. They're not gonna actually be there, and they're not gonna be there the full 3 days. And I could only go one day because of work and money. Yeah, and so just leading up to today, like, I'm just like, oh, this isn't real. So I show up at the convention, and I had to wait a couple hours for the vendor room to open to even go see them. And there was a gaming room. There was like Dance Dance Revolution, Just Dance. There was arcade games, VR, Rock Band. I played Tekken with someone random. That was fun. Yeah, so I like played in there for a bit, and then I was looking for the bathroom before I'd head over to the vendor room, and I saw the Buster Sword, and I saw someone who was cosplaying as Zack and Aerith there. And so I started talking to them, and they're like, oh, we're waiting for a friend who's Vincent. And I was like, can I join the party? And so they let me join the party. They needed a Tifa anyway. So I hung out with them, and like we fangirled and stuff, and then headed over to the vendor room. And as soon, like, I made eye contact with Britt, and I was like, oh, I like got really nervous. And so I hung out with them. We went and checked out the vendors and stuff until I was like, okay, we gotta do it. And like Vincent came with me, and So like I approached her, and she's just like there, like smiling. She's super pretty, and I was like, hi. I was like really nervous, and she's like, oh, hi there. And she's like started talking about my cosplay, and she's just like, I haven't seen anybody wear that yet. Like, haven't seen her wear like her beach outfit. And she's like, I see them in their normal outfit. And I was like, oh yeah, this was last minute. And she's like, it looks really good for last minute. And I was like, yeah, and I'm broke. She's like, oh. And she's like, oh, it's like really cool. And I was like, I just wanted to say thank you for voicing my favorite video game character ever. And she's like, oh, I thank you for saying that. And I was like yeah, like I'm on my 3rd playthrough of Rebirth, which is true. And I just played Cosa del Sol last night on my 3rd playthrough. So it's fitting that I'm wearing this. And she's like, whoa, really? She's like, that's impressive, because that game's massive. And I was like, oh, thank you. And I did kind of say something stupid. I was like, because we were talking about her character. Like, honestly, the whole conversation's kind of a blur. So if I don't remember things sequentially, like, I'm just still on cloud 9. But I said something stupid. I'm like, oh, I'm sure like it gets hard on the voice like after a while. And she's like, oh no, not really, because Tifa's voice is pretty similar to mine, so it's not that hard. I was like, oh, okay, that helps. Yeah, and I was like, can I take a picture with you? And she's like, oh yeah. She's like this is the pricing here, like for like buying a signed photo or whatever. And I only have like, I didn't have much, so I could afford the picture. And so yeah, to help her, like one of the staff took pictures of us, and they took a lot. She took a lot, and like we were like doing the fighter stance. Yeah, and I was like, oh, thank you. And she's like, oh, enjoy the rest of the convention. And yeah, so like that's pretty much how that one went. And then I went back to the party, and we like hung out in the foyer for a while and like talked some more. And they were like, well, we've been here all weekend, is there anything else you want to do? And I was like, oh, I want to talk to Aerith. And they're like, oh, okay. And like they already met them and everything, so went back inside and I approached Brianna, and I was nervous again, but like a little less, because you know I got it over with with Britt, but I was still like, I approached her, and she's like, hi. And I was like, hi, I'm a little nervous. And she's like, it's okay, I'm just a person. And I was like, oh yeah, that's true. And she's like, I put on my pants in the morning just like you. She's like, or I guess skirt. And I was like, well, there's shorts underneath. And she's like, oh, okay. And I was like, I just want to say, I think it is really cool that you're a gamer and you get to voice one of the most iconic video game characters in history. And she's like, yeah. I was like, I bet like that's a huge deal to you. And she's like, oh yeah, when I found out, I felt like the world had stopped. And I was like, I'm sure you did. And I was like, you know, it's a big deal. It came out when I was 3, and I watched my brothers play it, and it's just really cool. And I was like, and I'm like, and I think it's really cool you have a YouTube channel. Like I have a gaming YouTube channel. And she's like, oh really? What's your YouTube channel? I was like, what? Because I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this at all. Like all of this from here, like I did not expect at all. So I was like, oh, it's called Snowstorm. And she started looking it up. I was like, okay, I'll show you, because it's a little different. There's an asterisk in there. So I showed her, and she like looked up my channel, and she was like, oh, and she started like reading through my video titles, and I was like, yeah, I'm like, it doesn't have like a lot of subscribers yet. And she's like, oh, it's okay, it's a hustle, it takes a bit. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. And she's like, oh, I see you got some shorts, like you're doing pretty well. And I was like, oh, I forget to post shorts, I'm not very good about posting shorts. And she's like, I'm not either, it's okay. Yeah. And so like I kept talking to her. I was like, I have lots of videos scripted about Tifa, But I have some planned for Aerith as well. And she's like, it's okay. I get it. Tifa's a really good character too. And I was like, well, like props to the developers, because not only did they make one really iconic heroine in this game, but two. And she's like, oh yeah. And I was like, and it was in 1997. Like, that's huge. And she's like completely agreeing with me. I was like, I am on my third playthrough of Rebirth, and she's like, whoa. She's like, I'm just in, I think Corel is what she said, and she's like, but I'm busy coming to conventions like this. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure, and like I'm sure you're busy with other games as well. And she's like, oh yeah, like Echoes of Wisdom came out, the new Zelda game, and I was like, oh yeah, it did. And she's like, it's really good. And I'm like, yeah, and it's the first playable Zelda. And she's like, it's not the first playable Zelda. And she's like, Breath of the Wild. And I'm like, no, the first Zelda game you get to play as Zelda. And she's like, oh, yeah. Like, she was like about to throw hands. It was funny. She's like, oh, I remember there being one where you get to play as her briefly. And I was like, I think in Spirit Tracks, she's the companion character. And she's like, oh, that might be what I'm thinking of. And then I was like, oh, it was so nice to meet you. And she was like, it was nice to meet you as well. Like, good luck, like, with your YouTube channel. Like, you got this. Hi, it's nighttime. I remembered a few things from the conversation. I said, shoes here. I remembered that in my conversation with Britt, we just talked about like the convention, and she like asked if I was staying all day and if I was just staying that day, and I was like, yeah, and that I had work later, so I couldn't stay the whole time. And then also I told her that I found a group of people that were also cosplaying Final Fantasy VII characters, so that was a mighty yarn. If you don't know, Brianna, her YouTube channel is Strange Rebel Gaming, so check out her channel. It's really, really cool. And it's just super, super cool and supportive that she supported a really, really small channel like mine, just because I cover the game, right? Yeah, and like afterwards, and I was just like, did that really just happen? The thought also crossed my mind of like, oh shit, like my videos aren't the best quality yet because I'm trying to figure it out. So it's like, okay, I gotta make better content and make it more quality. What a mighty yawn, shoo. So yeah, I'm gonna work harder to make better content, and like this overall experience was super inspiring, and yeah, like I was left with like such good feelings. Like I'm still on a high. Like I'm like, that just happened. Yeah, I highly, highly encourage going out to events like this. It really does inspire you to work harder and work smarter, and to be creative, and to really go for your dreams and go for what you want. I mean, that's what they did. And they were able to land really, really iconic gaming roles that mean so much to a lot of people. So yeah, go meet people. You know, they say don't meet your heroes, but also do meet your heroes. And it's really, really inspiring. And like I could feel from Brianna that she really did want me to succeed, and like that's a really beautiful thing, you know. Like I came as like a nervous fangirl and didn't expect anything from her. Just like, oh, that's cool, you have a YouTube channel, you know, and that'd be it. But no, she went above and beyond. So it's really cool. It's, you know, there once in our shoes, like humble beginnings. So yeah. Anyway, I wanted to add this because it's been a few hours and I remembered some stuff. So yeah. Back to me from a few hours ago that was freaking out. So if you're watching, Brianna White, I love you. Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you. You're really, really nice. And I promise I'm gonna make more videos about Aerith. I'm gonna show her some love too. She's an amazing character, and I love her. Like, bias aside, like I love Aerith. It was an honor to meet you. It was an honor to meet Britt. I wish I met Britt too. It was an honor to meet Britt as well. I was just in shock, as I did not expect that at all. Like, I just expected to just, I expected to talk to her about YouTube. I didn't expect her to look at my channel. They're super, super, super sweet, and I just hope that if there's ever a convention in your area, any of you who are watching, go out and meet them. They're really, really nice. People talk about meeting famous celebrities or like voice actors and them being complete assholes in person. Britt, Barron, and Brianna White are absolutely sweethearts. They're absolute sweethearts, and it was just amazing to meet them. And I'm just still just like, that's just happened. One of my first gaming memories is watching my oldest brother play Final Fantasy VII. I just remember random battle out in the field. Yeah, and I was 3, and I just met the voice actresses, and it's a game that's super, super important to me and super important to so many people, and they got to do that. They got to give them a voice, and I know it's a huge deal for them, and I'm sure it's like humbling and an amazing experience for them to be able to connect with fans like me, get to see them and say, hey, like, thank you for voicing a character that's super important to me, and a game that's life-changing and iconic, and just, yeah, they're really talented and they're really sweet, and yeah, that just happened, and I'm just so happy, and I'm gonna remember this forever. So yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching, and thank you again to Briana and Britt, and yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. I will be continuing to play the OG. I'm trying to decide what I want to play after the OG. I might make a poll. We'll see, because there's quite a few games I want to play. Yeah, I'm gonna make a poll. I have a video that will be out soon about Gongaga, and then yeah, I'm gonna start really making videos about Tifa, but I'm also going to show Aerith some love as well. Anyway, I will see you next time. Bye!